I have the keys to a 2021 Porsche Macan Turbo. I'm going to be driving it and giving you my impressions.
Be sure to log into your YouTube account, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a video.
When the Macan was launched for model year 2014, the Turbo was the top model, powered by a 3.6-liter twin-turbo V6, and the S and base models slid under it with a 3-liter V6 and 2-liter inline-4, respectively. The 4-cylinder model appeared in model year 2015. A performance-focused GTS variant was launched for model year 2016 with a tuned version of the S's 3-liter turbocharged unit. Porsche launched the second-gen Macan for 2019, which was more mid-cycle refresh than totally new car, except for the fact that the powertrains were heavily updated. The base retained the Turbo 4. The S and GTS received the now ubiquitous 2.9-liter Turbo V6 with different tunes. Finally, in 2020, Porsche released the new Turbo, also with the 2.9. The 2.9-liter Macan Turbo was only available for 2 model years, 2020 and 2021, before the Turbo was axed and the GTS moved up to take the Turbo's spot. While not rare, they've held their values fairly well, starting at nearly $85,000 when new. In the used market, $55,000 seems to be the lowest price of entry for a decent example, while $80,000 is at the top end. The 2.9-liter turbocharged V6 makes 434 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque in the 2021 Macan Turbo, and the power is put to the ground via a PDK dual-clutch automatic transmission and all-wheel drive. Staggered width wheels and tires emphasize the CSUV's performance aspirations. 0 to 60 miles per hour takes 4.1 seconds, according to Porsche, though Car and Driver measured the test in 3.5 seconds. That's quick for a 4,430-pound vehicle. This example has a ton of options, making it a more luxurious and capable Macan than most. Read the description for the full list, but for the review, you should know it has natural leather interior and Espresso, air suspension with PASM, 21-inch RS Spyder Design wheels, Sport Chrono package, and the Premium package. So we are in a 2021 Porsche Macan Turbo, and as I said, this is the last year of the Macan Turbo. This one is optioned up pretty heavily. We've got the Espresso interior. The buttons, it's funny, they're still sort of the old school style buttons mixed with the newer touchscreen. And I really like it. I like having buttons like this in addition to a touchscreen, and I can make my decision on whether or how I operate the car. So the Macan is based on, I believe it's the Audi Q5 SUV, but Porsche has changed it dramatically. It has a staggered width wheel setup on this car. It has the 21-inch RS Spyder Design wheels instead of the stock 20s, so that was an option. And overall, it's just a more performance-oriented SUV, compact SUV compared to the Audi. At this point, just driving an automatic. Yeah, really acts like an automatic, just kind of a slowish downshift. Let's put it into sport mode, which also turns on the sport exhaust in this car. Yep, 434 horsepower. It's a good amount of horsepower, but of course we're in a 4,500 pound SUV. It is not quite as fast as the horsepower sounds, although if you're familiar with high power SUVs, you might already know that. 434 in a sports car will go a lot farther. So I'm gonna put it into manual mode, because why not? We're in 3rd gear. Oh yeah, that was good. So when you upshift in this car, it makes that that braps sort of sound, which is really sporty. I love hearing it. Yeah, and when you leave it in gear, this 2.9 liter, you are riding on a wave of torque. The exhaust sounds very good. The 2.9 liter has never been my favorite sounding engine, but here, not too bad. Now I'm gonna put it into Sport Plus, because why not? Yeah, there are some pops and bangs. So we're on winter tires, I believe, right now, so the car does not have the grip that it would normally have on its normal tires. But you can also feel an SUV is not a sports car, nor is it a sedan. I drove a Panamera S yesterday, a first gen, and you can definitely feel that this car is a little more top heavy and likes to lean and sort of do things as you're driving. It's not super precise compared to some of those other cars and SUVs. Well, maybe not SUVs, but cars. This is pretty much as sporty as they come as far as compact SUVs go. But yeah, I'm gonna say that experience with winter tires means that the tires probably have a little bit to do with how this car feels a little bit softer than I would expect a Macan to feel. Still very easy and forgiving to drive. I'm gonna put this back into comfort mode or normal just because we're behind this Corolla who is just having a nice Friday cruise. Yeah, very nice, supple car. These are really comfortable seats. I didn't notice them at first because they're so comfortable. But now that I've looked at them and I am noticing them, these bolsters are so nice and grab you in, yet at the same time, really comfortable. They don't squeeze you. Now let's put it back into Sport Plus mode. Third gear. Sport Plus doesn't make the shifting, the upshifting in the PDK transmission super violent like it does in the sports cars. Yep, you can feel the nose is heavy in this car compared to Porsche sports cars, but not bad for an SUV. Probably pretty stellar, actually. Now I'm going to come into here, fourth gear, third gear, second gear. Yeah, very nice. It's one of those cars where you can't just kind of chuck it into a corner. You got to plan a little bit more, make sure you've slowed down enough so you don't overwhelm the front tires going into the corner. But if you do that, feels really nice and it'll rock it out of a corner. Yeah, good amount of torque. I've got to think that the old 3.6 liter twin turbo had more broader torque range than this 2.9. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is a pretty small motor for such an SUV. All right, I'm gonna floor it here again. Second gear. Yeah, really smooth shifting, really fast, no drama. Oh, so good. It sounds really good. Yeah, we've had the sport exhaust on most of the time. I believe this one actually has the insulated glass. So I'm sure some sound isn't coming in quite as much on some other Macans that are out there without this option. All right, back to normal mode. Yeah, normal mode, you do that. You can definitely feel there's a difference in how tight the suspension is from normal to Sport Plus. But it's not a huge difference. You know, you still know that you're in an SUV, as compact as it is. Not a sports car, but really sporty for what it's like. While at the same time, maintaining very nice manners. Yeah, very nice car. Very easy to drive. Very easy to just get in and go. Just like any SUV should be. You can hop in and it acts just like probably, for the most part, an Audi Q5. But if you want to drive a little bit faster on a back road, this is a willing partner. Don't expect sports car levels of handling, but you can expect a really good handling SUV that does better than most SUVs out there and could probably surprise a few sports car drivers if you have a good driver behind the wheel of this thing. Yeah, my general impression is that this is a great all-rounder car, and a car that can fade into the background, or SUV that can fade into the background when you're daily driving or road tripping, but can also become a little more of the centerpiece when you are trying to have fun on a back road. All right, here's my scores. So car show, it's a Macan. It's a nice blue Sapphire. It has a nice Espresso interior, which isn't too common, but it is a Macan. And because of that, you know, this is not going to impress too many people, I don't think, at a car show, unless maybe you're at PCA's Porsche Parade or a very Porsche-centric car show where Porsche's SUVs are appreciated almost as much as their sports cars from the enthusiast side of things. But in general, I don't think Macan's going to impress too many people. This is a daily driver. This is a road trip SUV. So car show, I'm going to give this a 6 for car show. Okay, so for daily driving, might be the perfect daily driver as far as Porsches are concerned. It is not too large of a vehicle. It's smaller than the Cayenne. It's smaller than the Panamera. When it comes to footprint, it's of course taller than the Panamera. It's very comfortable to drive. The seats are amazing. These, I believe, looks like the 18-way sport seats or power seats. Not quite sure what the name is for them offhand. Yeah, these seats are some of the best I've sat in, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. The hatch will allow you to store plenty of things for work or whatever you might need to do, your errands, groceries, and you have enough room for the kids back there if you have kids, or the dog maybe. And unlike the Panamera, you do have a center seat in addition to the left and right seats in the back seat. Yeah, what a car. I'm going to give this, I think, a 9.25 for daily driving. I think we can call it that. It doesn't really get much better than this, I think, for a Porsche daily driver. You know, I'm going to give it a 9.5 for daily driving. So for road trip, this will be also a great road trip for all the same reasons. For me, I think I would much rather be in a Macan or a Macan Turbo like this than a Cayenne when it comes to road tripping, purely because it's a slightly smaller vehicle. And quite frankly, unless you're going to maybe the GTS or definitely the Turbo GT, the Macan is sportier, and I like that. It has a wider balance of comfort and sporty that works really well on a road trip. It's definitely a great road tripper, maybe not quite of a destination car if you're just one or two people, but definitely a destination car or a vehicle if you have more than two people. Like, let's say you have your family with a kid or two, then this is probably the Porsche you want to show up in to have a great road trip experience plus a great destination experience. You can take this out and drive some great back roads and have a lot of fun. Just don't expect a sports car out of it. So I'm also going to call this for road trip a 9.5. Yeah, really solid 9.5. So 9.5 and 9.5 for daily driver and road trip. For fun factor, this is a great SUV. One of the most, you'll probably not find many SUVs that are as fun to drive as this, short of probably a Macan GTS, particularly the brand new models, which have sportier intentions yet have the same drivetrain as this Turbo. Has a great exhaust note, not the best in the world, but really good. This is, let's remember, an engine that does double duty across so many of Porsche's vehicles. They're four doors. It has a lot of pull, a lot of torque from fairly low down, and it's very rev happy. It likes to rev. What I do notice in this car is, or in this SUV, is that it's you still feel you're in an SUV. It's a little bit top heavy, and that saps a little bit of the fun out of it. And on these tires, these winter tires, they are not. These are not the kinds of tires you want to bring on a back road, especially if it's spring, summer, fall. You have a little bit squishier handling. It's a little more nose heavy, than maybe I felt in Panameras that I've driven. But overall, really fun. Just expect a really sporting SUV that isn't quite at sports car levels of fun and handling. So I'm going to give this, I think, for fun factor, I'm going to give this a 7.25 for fun factor. So it'll get you where you need to go, and it'll be fun on a back road. Just don't expect the most amazing experience ever. That's my review. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more reviews like this and don't want to miss them, as they are released every Saturday through 2023. Until next time.